Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Burgundy Bets. We have USFL Week 5 football to go over, find our spots, who we're going to take, go over these spreads and totals, and find out how we're going to make some money. Week 4, we had a couple great games. We had those games go down to the wire, missed extra points, missed field goals, game walk-off, touchdown throws. It was a great weekend of USFL football. Now let's go over this week's slate, the Week 5 slate, find our spots, how we're going to make money, and let's get right after it. Now, the first game we're going to go over will be Saturday at 3 o'clock as we have the New Orleans Breakers taking on the New Jersey Generals. Breakers are 3-point favorites in this match with an over-under of 37 points. Both teams are 3-1. It should be a good football game. Now, we'll start with the Breakers first. They're fresh off their win last week over the Gamblers. Kyle Slaughter and this team, I mean, if you want to talk about an equivalent to a team that can match what you see on NFL Sundays, it's Kyle Slaughter at the helm, dishing the ball. He threw for 397 yards in this game. Now, he did have 3 interceptions. However, one was across the middle, crowded area. The other one, his wide receiver fell down in the end zone where he was trying to place the ball. Kyle Slaughter still shows us why he is the best quarterback in this league, and I like New Orleans here in this spot. Now, they did have to release TJ Logan. He had a foot injury, so he's gone from the team, which is a shame. He was, one of the most dynamic players in the USFL. Result of that, Jordan Ellis had his first 100-yard career day in the league. He also caught 4 balls. Jonathan Adams went off, 6 balls, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Tywon Taylor also had 4 balls, 112 yards. They just have so many weapons on this New Orleans team, you don't really know where they're going to go with it. Is it Johnny Dixon one week, then Jonathan Adams another week? We see Tywon Taylor balling out. Sean Poindexter can go up, make those contested catches. And then not to mention their tight end right now is leading the league in receiving yards with 215. Now, shorter sample size, but you get the point here. I really like New Orleans. As far as the Generals go, they're getting 3 points in this game. Points are at a premium in this league. We see how low these totals are. The total in this game is sitting at 37 points. DeAndre Johnson and Luis Perez still splitting reps here at quarterback. Now, interesting, DeAndre Johnson is supposed to be the rushing quarterback. However, last week he only had 14 yards on 11 carries. Not good. He was just getting stuffed. Luis Perez went 11 of 14 for 102 yards. DeAndre Johnson better, 9 out of 10 for over 98 yards, and he also threw a touchdown. Alonzo Moore was basically their big playmaker. They didn't have much in the rushing game at all. Moore had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Now, the Generals are struggling to run the ball, and it doesn't help that now they have to face New Orleans. New Orleans just held the league's leading rusher, Mark Thompson, from Houston to only 10 yards. The front 7 in New Orleans looks good. Obviously, I'm going to say it again and again, we need to watch for injuries. We need to see the Saturday practice report, the Wednesday practice report, because apparently for the last 2 weeks, Kyle Slaughter has just been battling through injuries, and this team will only go as far as he goes. They will win on his arm, and that's how they're going to win games. Defense still good. The pick here for me is New Orleans. I do condone laying to 3. Let's make sure our guys are in there. Once again, we don't have any Adam Schefters or Ian Rappaports covering this league. It's on us. We got to wait for these practice reports. Wednesday, practice report. Saturday, Friday before kickoff practice report. That's what we're going to look like, and then we're going to make the move. Official pick is the New Orleans Breakers minus the points. Also, I want to throw this in. There's not a big variance here from the -3 at a -110, -115, whatever your book's giving you. You can just grab the money line at -155, especially if you like doing a parlay. Now, the next game we're going to go over will be Sunday noon kickoff. We have the undefeated Birmingham Stallions laying 6.5 points, taking on the Philadelphia Stars. Birmingham, like I said, undefeated 4-0, while the Philadelphia Stars are 2-2. Over under in this game, 36.5. We'll start with Birmingham here. Jamar Smith did not play last week. He was out with an illness. We don't know if he's going to play this week. It was Alex McGough coming back. This is his first start since week 1 when he did get injured. Like we talked about, this guy is kind of injury prone. If you watch the quarterback take in the beginning of the season, he went 14 of 26, 126 yards. He also did rush for 39 yards and had a touchdown on the ground, which was surprising to see him out there using his legs. Their running game wasn't overly impressive. I mean, C.J. Marble and Tony Jones combined for 87 yards. They had 22 carries. It's a little bit under 4 yards a carry. However, medicine comes in the form of playing the Philadelphia Stars. The Philadelphia Stars have given up 250 rushing yards now in back-to-back weeks. So if Birmingham is going to get it going here on the ground, you would imagine it would be against a Stars team that is struggling on rush defense. Birmingham's defense also very good. I mean, they held New Orleans to only 13 points, held Tampa Bay to only 10 points. It's a reason why this team is undefeated and why a lot of people like Birmingham here. As far as the Philadelphia Stars go, Brian Scott's still out. I don't know if he did tear his ACL on his knee, but I know he's out and he won't be playing in this game either. Case Cooks came in. When he came in for Byron Scott 2 weeks ago, he looked good, and he looked good last week as well, going 22 for 30, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also put up 35 yards rushing. Philadelphia his kicker has really turned it around here. Mangwa, he was blowing kicks in the beginning part of the year. He had 4 out of 5 kicks in their last game. He put up 14 points himself with that and extra points. The rushing game was average. I mean, Paul Terry averaged over 5 yards a carry, which was nice, but they might be getting Darnell Holland back. Now, Holland's been out since week 2 with a hamstring injury. He was their lead back. He might be back and ready for this game. Once again, we're going to watch for those injury reports and practice reports. For Philadelphia, wide receiver-wise, Devin Gray went 7 for 70 and a touchdown. He could be emerging as Cook's number 1 receiver to look at. He had 5 targets last week when he came in the game, when Case came in the game, and then he had 7 targets recent game, which is the most that Case has thrown to so far. I think 6.5 is a lot of points here. Birmingham's only won 1 game by more than 6, and it was over New Orleans impressively. I don't know. I want to take the Stars, and I want to take the 6.5. What worries me is obviously their rush defense, and Philadelphia has given up at least 23 points in every game so far. Now, shorter sample size, 4 weeks, but that's still something. This team has given up at least 23 points. We don't like that. No official play here yet. If you watched last week, we could see the line movement with some of these bigger favorites opening up -3.5 by the time it's kickoff. They're -6. I believe Birmingham last week was -6. By the time it was kickoff, they were -10. So I'm going to wait and see where the Stars line goes. If it does get higher, I'm leaning towards the Stars here. I like Case. I'm just not really sold on Alex McGough, but we'll see what happens here. If Jamar Smith does come back and is not out for any extended time here, an additional week. I don't know what the illness was. It was just odd. That's all the news we had on it. Then I will not be betting this game, and I would look to the Birmingham side. But right now, I'm leaning with the Stars and the points. Once again, my Twitter is in the ticker below, as are the spreads and the totals. Official plays are posted on Twitter. I didn't really like the card last week. I only placed 1 under bet, and it actually was the only game to go over. So, but once again, do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe button. Next game we're going to talk about is the Friday game. 8 o'clock Friday, we have the Michigan Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Bandits. Bandits are 2.5 point favorites in this game, and a low total as we expect at 34 points. With no Paxton Lynch last week, it was simply the Shea Patterson show, and he was terrible. I mean, he went 9 of 17. He threw 3 interceptions. He actually ran for more yards on the ground than he threw for. He ran for 79 yards. He passed for 67 yards. Reggie Corbin has now broke back-to-back long runs. I mean, the guy's had back-to-back weeks with 133 and 154 yards on the ground, back-to-back touchdowns. So this offense is really going through the running game and Reggie Corbin the last 2 weeks. Leonard Lenoir Jr., the best playmaker on this team, didn't catch a ball on 4 targets, so that's worrisome. You guys been watching me, you know I'm not high on this Michigan Panthers team. They had a chance to beat the Stars last week. They tried out their kicker, and Jeff Fisher hates this kicker, but he sends him out there anyway because it's a 21-yard field goal attempt to win the game. A walk-off kick, 21 yards. It's basically an extra point. Kicker hits a post, doesn't go in, Stars win the game. I mean, if that's a bad omen for Michigan, I don't know what else is. As far as the Tampa Bay side of things, they also have not looked overly impressive like some of these teams. Like I said, we're starting to see these teams really emerge as teams that can go out there and just win this thing, like a Birmingham, like a New Orleans. Teams like that. I mean, I'd even throw New Jersey in there on some weeks when DeAndre Johnson is running the football so well. But back to Tampa Bay. Te'amu struggled a little bit regression from the big week 3 he had. He went 13 of 22, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. He ran 6 times back-to-back weeks. The guy's running at least. It gives us something because in college and, when Jordan Te'amu was coming out, it was his legs that were a big part of his game. So you want to see him use that in this league. But Tampa Bay was awful at running the football. This should be an ugly game. I'd say lay the points with the Bandits, but that's just because I hate Michigan so much. The under probably cashes in this game. This is probably a 13-10 game, 10-16 game. I don't think this game gets over 30 points. The under 34 is probably the way to play here in this game. Not really a great game. Let's move on to one that is. I said we're going to move on to a good game, but I can't because we already covered the first 2 good games earlier in the episode. So, last game we have Sunday, 4 o'clock. It will be the Pittsburgh Maulers against the Houston Gamblers. Pittsburgh Maulers are 0-4, and the Gamblers are 1-3. Gamblers are giving up 6 points here, and I understand it. Now, Pittsburgh did cover last week. They were getting 9 points, and they lost by 8. So there's something to hang your hat on if you are a Pittsburgh backer or fan. Over-under in this game, 33.5 points. Kyle Letta started for the Pittsburgh Maulers, 15 of 32, 169 yards. I don't know if it's going to be him or Josh Love. Josh Love, I didn't see him on any injury reports, but regardless, it was the Kyle Letta show. We don't know if Josh will end up starting this game or not. Running backs, not great. Ramondre London seems to be the best running back in this field, but for some reason, Garrett Groshek keeps getting a majority of the carries. I don't really understand that. Bailey Gaither Jr. missed another game. He had a great start the first 2 weeks. We don't know if he's going to be back here. This is a lot of injuries here. We're going to, once again, check in the practice reports. Let's see who's going to be playing in these games. Jeff Thompson was out as well. With all these guys out for Pittsburgh, somebody had to step up, and one man did. It was Trey Walker stepped up. He caught 9 balls for 110 yards and a touchdown, and Loletta threw it to him 17 times. That's look for this kid is basically what we're saying here. Pittsburgh's defense is terrible, though. I mean, they average giving up 23 points a game. Houston, they just lost that heartbreaker to New Orleans. I mean, it's 13-13 the whole game. Or not the whole game, but in the fourth quarter there, both teams kick a field goal. It's tied up. Now New Orleans has the ball, and they're going down the field to kick, say, a tying field goal. They call a timeout. Kyle Lowder steps back, 30-yard strike, bam, for a walk-off touchdown. Heartbreaker for Houston. Great ending to a game. But I just, in case you didn't see that, that was a great moment. Back to Houston, quarterback Clayton Thorson. He was fine, 14 of 26. 127 and a touchdown through the air. The big story was Mark Thompson. I mean, New Orleans shut him down. He was the league's leading rusher. They held him to 10 yards. So that was worrisome. Isaiah Zuber caught 5 balls for 46 yards. First time this year where he didn't score a touchdown. He was their playmaking wide receiver. I don't have a huge lean on this game. Let's see where the point spread ends up sitting. You're probably going to have Pittsburgh getting more points. They're the only team winless in the league. But once again, they did cover by 1 point last week. There it is. That's your Week 5 USFL slate. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Give me a reason to keep doing this. Let's find our spots. Follow me on Twitter. I only posted one play last week. It didn't hit. This week, I like 2 or 3 spots already. Once again, I just want to see the reports. Follow me on Twitter. It's in the ticker below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I love you guys. Let's cash some tickets. Week 5 USFL.